It's always a great day to wear the orange. The Tennessee baseball team, they roll on in midweek tonight. 13-3 over Bellarmine. We'll talk about the game here. And man, make sure to like, the share. If you haven't already, you like the content, hit the subscribe button. It is free. There's no cost for that. Get you the latest updates, YouTube notifications, let you know when anything's released on the channel or not. Thank you guys so much for your support. A lot of content been put out here lately, but it's pretty cool to have an opportunity to do it. Let's rock and roll Tennessee baseball. As you know, that's Tennessee baseball kind of out of all of them. I love all the sports. Tennessee baseball is my passion. That's kind of where I try to zero in on things and try to differentiate my coverage with others. But let's get right into it tonight. It's a game you expect Tennessee to come out and take care of business. They did. Now it started off with a bang, though. Bellarmine led off with a leadoff home run tonight. They come out guns a-blazing tonight, up 1-0. But then you get to the second inning, and things take off from there. Tennessee scored 6 in the second inning. You had a Reese Chapman triple. You had a Manny Marin sac fly. You had Curley singled. Andrew Fisher then capped the scoring in that inning with the 3-run home run of his own, which scored Blake Grimmer, which scored Dean Curley, and of course scored Fisher as well. Chapman had another double in the fourth inning, scored Bargo. Manny Marin singled to center, scored Chris Newstrom in the fourth. Dalton Bargo added a 3-run bomb in the seventh inning. Chris Newstrom followed with a solo shot, and then in the bottom of the eighth inning, Hunter High singled, scored Blake Grimmer, and that, folks, was the ball game. Run rule victory for Tennessee tonight. You know, the good thing about these games is, number one, you never know. You never know midweek. I mean, Tennessee's lost one to ETSU already this year. They lost to Lipscomb last year. You know, they get some, even though they destroyed UNC Asheville this year, last year it was a nail-biter game. Same thing last year when they played Queens. Queens got cocky and fired them up, and they come back and beat them. But, this Tennessee team, though, lots of guys played tonight. Your lineup was Curley at second, Fisher. Let's see how they went. Curley, Blake Grimmer, DH'd. Here I got confused because they put Antigua in later on. He had a walk in the game. Fisher hit third. Inslee was hitting cleanup in center. Bargo, fifth, was at third base. Reese Chapman was sixth in right field. Manny Marin started at shortstop tonight. Thought that was pretty interesting that they went that way. Stone Lawless got the nod behind the plate. Jay Abernathy then played left. Later on, Antigua comes in at short. Colby Backus come in later on in the field. Got his, if I'm not mistaken, first hit of the year for him tonight. So good for him to get going. Hunter High come in, replace Reese Chapman later on. You had Chris Newstrom come in later on as well. Levi Clark was in later. And so that's kind of where they went. A lot of shuffling around. And one thing I like tonight, you look at it, Tennessee only had one strikeout tonight. That's a pretty good night. They had 9 walks and only one strikeout, and that was by Andrew Fisher. So sorry to throw Fisher under the bus there, but of course Fisher had the 3-run bomb. He had a walk along the way as well. I was really kind of curious to see how they would go, because I think right now Tennessee, it really seems to me like they're still figuring things out in the field. They're 31-5 now, and they're still figuring things out in the field. That's pretty dang good. And where are they going to go this weekend? We don't know. And I'm sure Tony Vitello will talk about it in the post game about Gavin Keelan. He's going to get questions about A.J. Russell, which I'll talk about here in a moment, who did not start, did not even pitch tonight. So that you can kind of see where this is going. It's just a matter of what the role is going to be. With your lineup tonight, I still say, and, based on what I was told, Chris Newstrom was out sick this past weekend. The way he's swinging a bat right now, if he's healthy, if he's feeling good, I don't see how you bench the guy. I don't see how you do it, and I don't know at whose expense it's going to be. Now, obviously, here's who we know is locked in: Fisher, Curley, Inslee, Chapman, Bargo. For sure, those 5. They're going to be somewhere in the lineup. Now, the thing of it is you've got about another 8 to 10 guys you could put in on any night. I think it's pretty obvious at this point, based on this past weekend, Cannon Peebles is the main catcher. Stone Lawless got the nod tonight. The biggest thing Tennessee's got to figure out, and I think it's a lot more on the pitchers. And I think you look at some of these games where teams are running basically at will. Look at who's pitching. Look at what their windup is and see that teams are taking advantage of that. I don't think it's any coincidence on it, and people like to easily blame the catcher, and sometimes that's the case. But if you got a guy that's slow to the plate delivering the ball, I mean, the catcher has got their work cut out for them at that point. But looking at it too, Marin playing shortstop tonight, thought it was a pretty good look. He's been swinging a good bat. Hard guy to pull out. Jay Abernathy, with what he brings to the table, hard guy to pull out. I mean, Keelan's going to be in somewhere. Is he DHing again this weekend, or is he going to be in at second base? It's a good problem to have. I mean, Antigua, he's a guy to me. Last week was the exception with him. And I've seen it mentioned that Ole Miss field was absolute garbage last weekend. And it was said that Thursday night they did not tarp the field either, where a lot of times teams will tarp the field. So it was a wet field. I've seen it was a crap field. I don't think that's any coincidence with the amount of errors Tennessee had, because Tennessee's normally not that bad defensively. They have their moments sometimes. But, I mean, especially Antigua, again, I'll put his glove up against any shortstop in college baseball any day of the week with it. If he's making multiple errors, something's going on with it. Something is abnormal there. So there's such, to me, Marin is an interesting option at short. I think he possibly is your second best infielder on the roster. Now do you go a little more offensively? But the thing with Antigua, he plays such good defense, and the dude can bunt. He can sacrifice a bunt, and he'll get you a hit. He'll get you some RBIs on the weekend at some point. Do you stick with that? Because sometimes that glove saves you runs. It does. Where do you go with it? I don't envy Tony Vitello for the decisions. It's tough decisions, and it's good tough decisions because you have so many good options in this lineup. It'll be interesting to see how they go this weekend against Kentucky. Now shifting to the pitching. This was one of those midweek nights tonight where you saw 9 guys go tonight. You saw 7 guys go an inning. Then you saw Tanner Wiggins and Austin Hundley. Wiggins went 2/3, Hundley 1/3, respectively. Not Thomas Crabtree went an inning, started. Andrew Banky pitched second, got the win on that. Then you went Austin Breedlove, Michael Sherman, Ryan Combs, Luke Payne, Bryson Thacker, and then they concluded with Tanner Wiggins, Austin Hundley on the night. What I would like to see, because especially with some bullpen struggles the last week, who out of this group is a guy that could potentially keep putting things together and potentially come in and give you innings? Banky is the guy I've got circled on that. ERA's at 5.68, but he's still getting in gear. He's a guy who had experience last year, did good things last year as well. The story with the pitching tonight was it was led to believe that A.J. Russell would start. I mean, for a couple of days now, it's been out that he won't. So that tells you, and he wasn't on the out report this past weekend. He's going to be back in the weekend spot. Now the question is it in the rotation or is he a bullpen guy? I still don't think they will overuse him. I don't think they're throwing him in the rotation to go 5, 6, 7 innings at this point if he starts. Now, this is where I see it going, just knowing how, and I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying this is how it should be. I'm saying this is how I see it going. If he's starting, I look for it to be Sunday, and here's why I say that. All right? I'm not saying whether it should or should not be on it. I say it because watching Tony Vitello coach over the years, who's he going to give precedent to? He's going to give it to the upperclassmen over than the freshmen. I'm not saying Coons deserves to come out. He doesn't. All right. I'm not saying that at all. I know how it is, though. They normally go with the guy who's been there over the newer dude. But I will say this as well. The way Marcus Phillips has looked the last 2 weeks, it bears watching moving forward. Now, it may not even be a case where Russell starts. He may be a bullpen guy right now. Even if he starts on Sunday, I still see it going Russell, Coons, Krenzel. You're going to see them in some sort of order that way. If that's the case, again, that's speculation on my part. Now, let's say they go different and they go Russell goes Saturday, then you've got Russell. You'll see Marcus Phillips, and you go from there with it. It'd be interesting to see how they do it. There's 3 options. And to me, I don't think it's cut and dry out of whose place he takes if he goes in the rotation. Phillips have been pretty good, but the last 2 weekends have not been as encouraging. Coons got a raw deal this past weekend because I thought he pitched good. He made 1 bad pitch. That was it. Other than that, his defense did him no favors. And again, maybe that was due to the field conditions. It said that they were bad, that Tony Vitello and the staff was not very happy with it. I know Frank Anderson said was pretty pissed off some Sunday, too, at the ump. So I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if there is a right answer. There's just an answer. You go with it and go. What you need, Doyle keep doing his thing on Friday. He does that. He alleviates any concern with it. One concern I do have, though, has been the way Nate Snead has pitched last couple of weekends. I think he's been getting hit hard. And, again, that doesn't mean I don't think he's capable or nothing like that. What I state on here is what I see. All right? That's what I see. He's had, I think the Saturday and Sunday bullpens not been as good. Teams have hit them hard. But where do they go with it moving forward? We'll see. My guess is Russell starts this weekend on Sunday. But you got to think, well, his first year he was a bullpen guy. Could he do that and possibly be, that closer? If you can get Phillips back on track, you can get Coons continuing to progress. To me, with Russell, it makes the most sense for him to be a closer this year. Possibly just because I don't think there's a clear-cut guy right now. Loy has been. Of course, they've got immense trust in Snead, who got the win this past weekend. But, he also gave up a lead, too, in getting that. It'll be interesting to see where they go. And, again, I'm speculating, and I'll look at it based on because I've watched Tony Vitello and his team for years now. I know where he goes with. He normally gives precedent to the upperclassmen. We saw it, this year when they started the year with the lineup as well. We saw it some with the rotations and where they went. And then they adjust as they go. There's no right or wrong answer. And here's the thing about it. It will all work itself out in the end. Again, 31-5, and they're still figuring out their pitching. They're still figuring out their fielding at this point. When they get it figured out, that's going to be trouble for other teams because, as you know, they didn't have their best stuff this past weekend, and they still went on the road and won the series on it. Kentucky comes to town this weekend. That's one rivalry game. Pretty much any game is about like a rivalry, to be honest with you, in SEC baseball. That's just the way it is. So this weekend, the game times are, let me get that pulled up here. Friday night, 6:30, Saturday, 6 o'clock, Sunday, they conclude it at 1 p.m. We'll wrap up on that one. I had a basketball portal video earlier tonight. If you've not checked that out already, talk some football quarterbacks. Football portal opens up tomorrow. My guess, it's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy for this 10 days that it's open. But this is Frank. This is the House of Orange. Have a great rest of your evening, and go Vols.